What's up, YouTube? So I've been having a bit of a rack revelation over the past few days, and I want to run you guys through my thoughts. I thought it might be interesting for you guys, if anybody's following along with the Eurorack thing, doing their own thing, especially for Psytrance users. I've stumbled upon something which I think is really interesting. So anyway, I used to spend a lot of time, every time I wanted to do a jam or a patch, I'd spend a lot of time creating a bass sound, synthesizing it from scratch, synthesizing a kick drum, and then by the time I want to add other elements in, almost the entire rack is already used in various, sound design elements for the kick and the bass, because those are obviously such important parts of the track. So recently I got myself the Disting MK4, this tiny little thing over here. And it has a mode in it, the multi-sample mode, and something clicked, after I started using it, something clicked in my head, and it was like, I could load all my bass samples alongside all my kick samples, arrange them in octaves, and essentially just have a bunch of different kicks and basses and everything loaded up, ready to go. So I thought not only is this going to kind of save time in terms of workflow, it's also going to be incredibly handy because it's going to save space. It's going to make things a little bit easier, when I'm diving in, because I just need to sequence the kick and bass, and then the rest is kind of taken care of. It's similar to kind of how I work in the DAW realm. I've got a lot of presets and samples that I quickly just call on and then dive into the sound design. And I think this way, as you can see, it's a very simple patch here that I've set up, but it's already able to do, a pretty cool sounding kick and bass. So just to run you guys through like how the rest of the routing happens. So this is essentially getting MIDI from the DAW, and this is triggering the kick and bass notes which are coming out of the disting over here. So while setting up this patch and filming this video, I actually had another thought that we could, because of the dual outputs left and right, we could actually set up our samples to play out the left and the right and actually isolate the samples. I haven't done that because I also wanted to save mixer space. I wanted to have them already mixed at the right volumes and everything like that. But it's another option. If you do have a disting and you do want to do something like that, you can isolate the different outputs by getting your kicks to play out the left channel and your basses to play out the right channel. Pretty cool little technique. Anyway, so I've got the kick and the bass running into the mixer, and then it goes through a filter and into this stereo mixer over here. So this has a mono in and various kind of like side channel inputs, which makes things particularly handy for those with this kind of smaller rack. So how I've set it up is I've got the Mimeophone running into some of the stereo inputs. I've got the Dervish running into some of the stereo inputs, and then the mono is going to take basically all of my percussion stuff that's running through the mixer over here. So what I can do is I can have like an effect running through the reverb and create like a pad, and then isolate that completely separately in the mix to everything else. So it just makes things a little bit easier, in diving in, having that kind of thought process, like how everything is rooted and everything. You can kind of just dive into the more exciting stuff. So yeah, let's dive into some more exciting stuff. So like I said, with the MIDI, how I've set it up is so that multi-sample is the lower octaves are triggering bass notes, and then the higher octaves are triggering kicks. So just to give you guys a quick like representation of what's happening here, let me just mute all of these bass notes and then play just the kick over here. And then I can choose different kicks by just moving the sample, the note up or down. I actually like the sound of it on G sharp. So then let's just put in a bass line like this. So most of the time, like I said, I would end up synthesizing my kick and my bass within the rack, and I'd end up using Platts to do the kick, I'd end up using Mind Phaser to do the bass, and I'd use up some of my favorite versatile oscillators to do things that are going to stay kind of static, not only within a track but within an entire set. Something like a kick and bass doesn't change all that much, maybe a little bit of processing here or there, but the basis is generally the same. Saw wave to create bass line, sine wave to create a kick drum. And I figured not only, with software, you've got the ability to do such more fine tuning with the envelopes and that kind of thing. So now the cool thing is I've got all these other oscillators, sound sources, and, modulation capabilities that I've now freed up within the rack. So I could create much more cohesive percussion patterns to run alongside the kick and bass, maybe sequence those with the Euclidean circles. I could do very versatile lead stuff with the Mind Phaser, because now I've opened up both of the oscillators in there. So yeah, I'm going to start off by making a little percussion thing with maybe using the hi-hat mode, and then maybe creating like a snare kind of thing with the Bassimilus, and yeah, then just experiment from there, and hope you guys enjoy my experimentations. So here I've routed that oscillator into that reverb, but I want to make sure that it's sending the correct pitch. So what I'll do is I'll add a MIDI track, and then we can just send a G sharp through to that. Awesome. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know what you think in the comments. Oh yeah, you may be wondering that like flute type of sound right at the end there. That was the Era Instruments Indian Resonator. Another one of my newly acquired favorites. It's a bit of a strange one, so I'm still trying to understand it, trying to wrap my head around how the knobs actually work, because it kind of reacts differently every single time. But very cool thing. Capable of some very psychedelic sounds, flutey type of things. Great for transitions, intros, that kind of stuff. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know what you think in the comments. As always, if you haven't yet, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. See you guys next time.